Hey everyone, so in this video, I want to go through how you graph piecewise function, which is our lesson 4-2 on our unit 4. So I am going to go into the assignment and see what I get. Here we have graph the following function on the axis provided. Okay, we have f of x function, which is equal to two pieces within the function, negative 2x plus 1 for when x is between negative 4 and negative 1, but not including those values, and 3x plus 2 for when x is between negative 1 and 2, and again, not including those values. So I am going to show you how you do this. I'm going to show you a couple of examples, and hopefully that helps you with the graphing portion of the Delta Math assignment. So I am going to Desmos.com. This is where you'll end up. I'm going to use my graphing calculator. Now, if you have your own graphing calculator, I suggest you do it that way. It'll be actually quicker to get your table. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the first piece, which is negative 2x plus 1. Here's my function. So if I was graphing that line, that's what I would graph. But what I want to do is I press this little wheel, if you're using Desmos, and I want the table. So if you're doing this on the calculator, you want a table. What I want to see on my table are the values from negative 4 all the way to negative 1. So I'm going to change these. Negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. And that is it. So delete that last one. Now that I have those values, those are the values I'm going to graph on my grid. So we have negative 4, 9. So when you are doing this on Delta Math, it says click and drag to make a line. So we have again negative 4, 9. I'm going to click and I'm going to start dragging. So negative 4, negative 9 right there. And then the next point would be at negative 3, 7. Which is right here. My third point, negative 2, 5. And my last point, negative 1, 3. So there's my segment. Now, before I leave that as is, it says that when x is negative 4, that x value, that is not part of my domain. So I'm going to go to my x value of negative 4 and click on the point to make it open because that x value is not included. If I go to negative 1, that inequality is telling me the same thing. X is less than negative 1, but it's not including negative 1. So at negative 1, I'm going to click that closed circle and make it open. So there's piece number 1. Piece number 2, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to graph this 3x plus 2 on my calculator. 3x plus 2. If I'm using Desmos, I need this little wheel. And I want a table. My table this time goes from negative 1 all the way to 2. No, I have those values here, so I'm not even going to bother retyping it. So from negative 1 all the way to 2. So I'm going to start graphing these values. So negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1. Again, I click when I'm doing this, I click, and now I'm going to start dragging my second point. 0, 2, 1, 5, 2, 8. So there's my segment. Just like before, now I'm paying attention to, is negative 1 included? No, it is not. So I'm going to click and open it up. Is 2 included? Again, no, it is not. So I'm going to click on that endpoint where x is 2 and make sure that's not included. So I double check everything, make sure everything is good. I'm going to press submit. Yes, should mark it right. Perfect. Compares it to what I did, but it's exactly the same thing because it's right. Let's try another one. So here we have f of x, two pieces as well. F of x is equal to negative 2. Now you should know how this is going to look. It is going to be a horizontal line at negative 2. But if you are not sure, you could put it into your calculator and see what you get. Y equals So I have y equals -2. It's just a horizontal line. So I am going to graph all the x values that are less than -5, but I have to start at -5. So I'm going to click and I'm going to start dragging. So I know it's a horizontal line, and I'm going to include all the x values that are less than -5. So now this one's slightly different, because first thing I'm going to do is change this -5 to a not included circle. So open circle, because it's not included. And at the other side, where I stopped at -8, I'm going to click 2 times to create my arrow to show that this line is going to keep going as my x values are getting smaller and smaller. All right, that's one piece. Second piece here, we have x minus 4. Let's get rid of this. X minus 4, but we want from x is greater than -1. So I'm going to get my table. Greater than -1, I have some values here, so I just use those as well. So we are starting at x is -1, -5. I'm going to click and I'm going to start dragging my other points. We have 0, -4. We have 1, -3. We have 2, -2, and so forth. It's going to keep going and going, right? So just like before, when x is -1, when I start with that x value of -1, that x value is not included. So I'm going to open that circle up. But on the other side, it's telling me that it's going to keep growing. X is greater than -1. So all of these values are going to be included forever. So I clicked on the endpoint 2 times to give me my arrow. Again, I make sure everything looks good. I'm going to press submit, and gives me exactly the same thing. Okay, so here we are going to knock out 2 things in one shot. We have f of x equals 4 for x does not equal 5, and f of x equals 3 for x equals 5. 2 different things, slightly similar but slightly different here. It's gonna look a little bit weird. So what we are going to start off doing is the first piece. So we have f of x equals 4. What does that mean? F of x equals 4 is our horizontal line, but x cannot equal 5. So I am going to have a line. Let's start it here. It's going to keep going on forever on that side, and it's going to keep going on forever on that side. But x is not going to be equal to 5. So I'm going to open a circle up where x is equal to 5. My other one, I love seeing these because these deal with just a point. So f of x equals 3, 4, or when x equals 5. So in simple terms, when x equals 5, what is y equal to? 3, and that's a closed circle. When x equals 5, y equals 3. So when you have does not equal to, x does not equal a number, you're dealing with a horizontal line, but that number is not included. And when you have f of x equals a number for x equals a value, then it's just a point. So I'm going to submit, and perfect, I got it right. Right? Again, this is my graph. I have points at the end because that's how I get my arrows. Here they don't have it, but those points are included anyway. When you are graphing, you must click and drag to get your points. So hopefully this video helped you out with the graphing portion of the Delta math.